Okay, we are going to look at lesson 12, creating charts. For this class, we're not going to do anything with chapters 9, 10, and 11. That doesn't mean that they're not important, just means we don't have time to look at them. So here in lesson 12, we are creating charts. So there's a lot of information in lesson 12, so please make sure that you look over it and look at the different things you can do with charts. There's a lot of stuff in there. We are going to create just a simple pie chart here for 12.1, and for 12.2 we're going to create a simple column chart. So the first thing we need to do is open up Excel and create a new workbook. So I'm opening up Excel here. I'm going to create a new workbook, and I've got a blank workbook here. Let me make this a little bit larger. Bring this over so you can see the whole thing. And we're going to put the information here that we see in our textbook. And I'm just going to zoom in here so we can see the data a little bit better. So I'm going to create the following workbook, and then I'm going to use the sum function to do the total. So even though there's a number here, you need to make this use a formula for B9. So in A1, I'm going to enter in Blue Yonder Airlines. And then in B2, or A2, sorry, monthly time analysis. Okay, and so now I'm going to put in Labor Council presentation. And then in B3, I'm going to put 2375. So if I double click up here between A and B, now I can see my information here. I've got VP staff meetings, and they're 1925. BOD meetings is 25. Terrorism impact analysis, $75. And pilot wages is 25. And miscellaneous is $12.75. And then I have a total. And so for my total, I need to come up here and use my sum function and then hit enter. Now, one thing you notice on my worksheet up here, since I don't have any cents in 25, 75, and 25, there's no cents. I want to change this to where they're all formatted the same. So I can highlight these three, and I can increase my decimals. Then I needed to increased and then decreased, so now they're all formatted the same, so they all look the same. When you're putting your information in here, it's really important when you're putting your labels in here that you make sure that you spell everything correctly, and that, like here on terrorism impact analysis, you've got your first letter capitalized, because this is how it's going to show up in your chart. So to create our pie chart, we need to select our data. So we were going to select A3 through B8. Now we're not going to include the total. If you include the total, your pie is going to be off, because this 180.75 is represented by these totals up here, by these numbers. So now we're going to go to the Insert tab, and right over here is our charts, and we're going to select our pie chart right here. So we're going to click on that little icon, and we want to select a 3D pie. And here it is. So down here you can see we've got our chart, we've got our data up here. This area down here is called a legend. Chart title, which we don't have anything in here yet. But we can make some changes to this. You can see we have up here our chart tools, got design and format. For our assignment, we want to choose layout 4. So we're going to come up here to quick layout, and we're going to choose layout 4. You can see it just puts all of our information here, so we don't need to worry about a title for our chart. And we want to put our chart on its own page. So to do that, we're going to come up here to our chart tools, and we're going to move chart. We're going to select move chart. We want it on a new sheet in our workbook, and we want to call our new sheet time pie. And we're going to click OK. So now we have time pie and sheet 1. So if we click on our time pie up here, we've got our chart tools. We want to make a few more elements. We want to add a chart title. So up here on chart elements, we're going to select chart title, and we're going to put it above our chart. And now we just need to come down here to our chart title area, and we're going to delete chart title, and we're going to put in here monthly time analysis. And you can see now we have our chart. We've got our data information in here. So if we go to sheet 1, what's really cool, we can actually come over here, and maybe instead of terrorism being so high, actually our staff meetings are really high because we're going to go somewhere special. So they're $200. So if we come back now to our time pie, you can see how our pie changed. So even though we've created this, if we come into our sheet and we make changes, if I undo that, take it back to 1925. So if we make changes here in our data, our pie chart is automatically going to be updated. So now you're ready to save this as my time solution, and you can close the workbook and submit it in Blackboard for a grade. And so we are going to go right on into 12.2 to create a column. So to do this, I'm going to open up create a new workbook, new blank workbook here, and I'm going to put in some information here from the textbook. And whoops, this is B. So I'm just going to go put ahead and however is quickest for you to put the information in. Need to make sure that you capitalize things and spell things correctly. I'm going to go ahead and make that wider there. So now I'm going to enter my data. And I'm just going to go ahead and enter my numbers in, and then I'm going to go back in and format them. Now how I want these formatted is with the comma format. So I'm going to select my range from B3 down to B10, and I'm going to come up here to my number grouping on my home tab and click on comma, the comma style, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to decrease my decimals. So now I have my column, my information separated by commas. So now to create my column chart, I need to select my data. So I'm going to select A3 down to B10. I don't need to worry about a total because I don't have one here in this chart. I'm going to go to Insert. This time I'm going to go to Columns. I'm going to click on that, and I want to insert a clustered column. So it's the very first one under 2D. You can see now I've got my chart title, I've got my information across the bottom here. I want to edit my chart title, so I'm going to click up there to select it and type in entry-level salaries for my title. I want to move my chart again, so I'm going to come up here to Move Chart to a new sheet. In my new sheet, I want to call Salaries. So here is my chart with my data here. Now I want to change some information on my axes. So I've got my axes over here. I've got my vertical axes here and my horizontal axes. On my vertical axes, I'm going to right-click over here, and I'm going to format the axes. And so then over here, I'm going to come down here to where it says number, and I'm going to change this to currency. And then I can close this. And you can see now, instead of just being a number over here, it lets us know that this is what their salaries are in dollars, because we have the dollar signs over here. So now you're ready to save this as Salary Solution. Make sure when you mess with your charts, read through this chapter. There's lots more information than what's on these two small assignments. These are the basic information on creating a pie chart and a column chart. So now you're ready to save this and submit this for 12-2.